Hello everyone, and welcome to our presentation. Today we'll be exploring Mega Goal 3.2, focusing on language in context and listening skills. The session is part of Unit 9, titled Beauty is Only Skin Deep. We'll look at how beauty is perceived and discuss related language and listening exercises. I'm excited to guide you through this topic, so let's get started. All right, on this slide, we're focusing on the match activity. First, you'll be asked to match words with their correct meanings. This helps reinforce your vocabulary understanding. Next, you'll use real talk, phrases in meaningful sentences, which is a great way to practice practical language skills. After that, you'll answer some questions about the conversation, allowing you to check your comprehension and thinking critically about what you've learned. Finally, you'll listen for specific information, honing your listening skills and attention to detail. These activities are designed to make your learning more interactive and connected to real-life communication. Remember, the goal here is to practice these key skills in a way that ties into the overall theme of effective conversation and understanding. This slide shows a picture of a beauty salon. Now, take a moment to look at what the picture reveals. Can you see the different elements? There might be mirrors, chairs, or beauty products. When we ask, "What does the picture show?" we are encouraging ourselves to observe carefully and think about the environment. This is important because understanding the setting helps us connect it to the overall theme of the presentation, which is about providing excellent beauty services. By examining this image, we get a clearer picture of what a typical beauty salon looks like, and this sets the stage for discussing the services offered, the atmosphere, and what makes a beauty salon stand out. So, as you look at this image, consider how it represents the essence of a beauty salon and how it relates to the key points we're exploring today. Today, we're looking at a complaint about the service at a beauty salon. Now, the key question here is, what do you think this conversation is about? Well, it likely involves dissatisfaction with some aspect of the service provided. In this scenario, there are two people involved, Sophie and Anne. So how many persons are there in total? That's right, just the two of them engaging in this conversation. Who are they? Sophie and Anne are probably friends or acquaintances discussing their experiences at the salon. Now let's think about the purpose of this slide. We're trying to understand how complaints are communicated in a customer service context. It's important to see how the conversation unfolds, what issues are raised, how they're expressed, and perhaps how they're resolved. This kind of discussion is a perfect example of how customers voice their concerns, which is crucial for improving services and maintaining good relationships. Remember, in the overall presentation, we're emphasizing effective communication skills, especially in situations where a customer might be dissatisfied. This slide highlights the importance of expressing complaints clearly and politely, fostering understanding and resolution. Now let's take a closer look at this scenario. Here we see the manager of the salon, and she's obviously unhappy with her haircut. You might wonder, who is she complaining to? Well, in this case, she's probably voicing her frustrations to the stylist or the receptionist. The key point here is understanding the context of her dissatisfaction. She doesn't like her haircut, which is a common reason for complaints in service settings. So why is she upset? It could be because the haircut didn't meet her expectations, or perhaps it was rushed, or maybe she simply didn't like the final look. This example highlights the importance of managing customer expectations and handling complaints effectively. Recognizing these moments helps us see how crucial good communication and customer service are in maintaining a positive experience. Remember, in our overall discussion, understanding such scenarios helps us develop better strategies for customer interaction and conflict resolution. Let's take a look at some common expressions involving the word, says, and how they add color and nuance to our conversations. First up, who says, on the house. This phrase is often used to indicate that something is offered freely, usually by a host or establishment. Next, who says, blow them away. This means to impress someone so much that they are completely amazed. Then, who says, did a double take. This describes the reaction when someone is surprised or caught off guard, often causing them to look again in disbelief. Moving on, we have who says, fit to be tied. This expression refers to someone being extremely angry or upset, almost ready to lose their composure. Following that, who says, by far. This phrase emphasizes that something or someone is significantly better or more impressive than others. And finally, who says, beat around the bush. This means to avoid addressing the main issue directly, often to delay or evade the topic at hand. Throughout our presentation, recognizing these expressions helps us understand how language conveys emotion, attitude, and emphasis, making our communication more effective and engaging. Let's take a moment to read the words on this slide and understand their meanings. This exercise is important because it helps us grasp the key concepts we're working with. By familiarizing ourselves with these words, we can communicate more clearly and effectively. Remember, understanding the precise meanings of these terms will enable us to apply them correctly in our projects and discussions. So, as I read each word, think about what it means and how it connects to the overall theme of our presentation. This will strengthen your comprehension and make the rest of our session even more valuable. What did he say? Look, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Sometimes, in conversations like these, it's best to be direct and clear. There's no need to sugarcoat or obscure the message. Being straightforward helps ensure everyone understands the core point without confusion. And as we've seen throughout this presentation, clarity is key to effective communication and decision-making. So when someone says, look, I'm not going to beat around the bush, they're signaling that they want to speak honestly and transparently. It's about cutting through the noise and focusing on what really matters. This approach aligns with our overall theme of honest and direct engagement in all our interactions. What did he say? Well, the phrase exactly, you'd be fit to be tied, is a common idiom. It means you'd be so upset or angry that you'd be hard to calm down. Now notice how the phrase is repeated with slight variations. Exactly, you'd be fit to be tied, then exactly. You'd be fit to be tea, and finally exactly. You'd be fit to be tied. These repetitions highlight how idioms can sometimes be misheard or mispronounced, which can lead to confusion or humorous misunderstandings. This example ties back to our overall theme of how language and idioms function in communication. It shows how important it is to understand the actual meaning behind these expressions, especially when they're misheard or altered. Being clear on these phrases helps us communicate more effectively and avoid confusion. So what did he actually say? Well, the phrase double take 3 times suggests that there were moments where people had to pause and really look again, maybe to understand or process what was happening. It highlights how certain messages or visuals could catch us off guard, prompting that second look. Then we see double cake 3 times, which might seem a bit quirky at first, but it underscores repetition and emphasis, perhaps illustrating how some ideas or offers are repeated multiple times to reinforce their importance. Finally, double take 3 times emphasizes the idea of consistently needing to look twice, reinforcing the theme that clarity and repeated communication are crucial. Overall, these phrases tie back to our main theme, the importance of clear, memorable messaging, and how repetition can help ensure your audience truly understands and remembers your point. All right, let's take a closer look at this slide. The phrase, "What did he say?" really sets the stage for understanding the energy and enthusiasm we're aiming for. When we say, "We're gonna blow them away tonight," it's not just about impressing the audience, it's about creating a memorable impact. Notice how the different versions, like, "We're gonna to blow them away tonight," and "We're going blow them away tonight," show the variations in speech, but the core message remains the same. We're confident and ready to make a big impression. The key point here is the spirit of determination and excitement. This aligns with our overall theme of engaging and inspiring our audience, showing that we're prepared to deliver something extraordinary. So remember, it's not just about the words, it's about the energy and conviction behind them. So initially, I didn't like my haircut. I felt it didn't quite suit me, and I was a bit disappointed with the way it turned out. However, despite my feelings, I actually think my hair looks very nice now. Sometimes, our perceptions can change with a little time and perspective. Anne played a big role here. She convinced me that my haircut looks good and that I should give it a little more time. In the end, I agreed to keep it as it is for a while, understanding that sometimes patience and a fresh outlook can make all the difference. This whole experience highlights how important a positive attitude and support from friends can be when we're unsure about our choices. So, this slide highlights some of the major issues with these fad diets. First, they often restrict what you can eat on different days, which makes them pretty hard to stick with over time. Plus, they can cause mood swings and leave you feeling low on energy. For example, the cabbage soup diet emphasizes eating a lot of cabbage soup because it's filling and low in calories, but that sort of restrictive approach isn't sustainable in the long run. Then, we have the cotton ball diet. The idea is that cotton balls have no taste and a terrible texture, plus they lack vitamins and nutrients. While they're very low in calories and might keep you full temporarily, this diet can lead to serious digestive problems because it's not nutritionally balanced. The key takeaway here is that just because something is filling doesn't mean it's healthy or safe. Another example is replacing meals with baby food. Since the portions are small, they aren't enough for an adult's nutritional needs. Some people might think that because baby food is low in calories, it can help them eat less, but it's really unappealing and not designed for adult diets. Replacing 1 or 2 meals a day with jars of baby food might seem like a quick fix, but it's not a sustainable or healthy long-term strategy. Overall, these diets focus on extreme restriction and shortcuts, which might seem appealing at first, but they're not realistic or healthy in the long run. Instead, a balanced, sustainable approach to eating is much more effective and better for your overall health. Let's take a closer look at this slide. As you can see, the content is arranged in a seemingly random order with the letters F, E, C, H, B, G, D, but what does this actually represent? Well, these could be placeholders or perhaps a code that highlights the importance of organization and sequence. In the context of our overall theme, which emphasizes the importance of structured processes and clear communication, these letters remind us that sometimes things might seem disorganized at first glance. However, with proper analysis and understanding, we can arrange and interpret them to find meaningful patterns. The key takeaway here is that whether you're dealing with data, ideas, or even team workflows, looking at the elements from different angles helps uncover insights. It encourages us to stay curious and persistent, knowing that order and clarity often emerge through careful examination. So, even in apparent chaos, there's potential for understanding. It's all about how we approach and interpret the information we have. Let's take a look at the final slide, which points us to the workbook on page 322. Specifically to exercises H. This is where you can reinforce what we've covered today through some practical application. The key idea here is to actively engage with the material by completing these exercises, which will deepen your understanding. Remember, doing homework isn't just about finishing tasks. It's about connecting the concepts we've discussed to real-world situations and your own experiences. So, I encourage you to approach these exercises thoughtfully, as they are designed to solidify your learning and prepare you for applying these ideas beyond the classroom. By completing these exercises, you'll be better equipped to grasp the overall theme of this presentation, which is about mastering these essential skills and concepts. Think of this as your opportunity to practice, reflect, and truly make the knowledge your own.